All right, it is 6 o'clock, and this is the Fairgrounds Committee meeting. It is February 6, 2025. We are in City Hall Council Chambers. Next item on the agenda is consider approving the minutes from the previous meeting, which was October 3rd, 2024.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the October 3rd, 2024 meeting minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have general agenda items for consideration. Fair update.
Just so you know, George is working.
Okay.
So far, we are ahead of schedule as far as the fair goes. We are currently getting all of our paperwork together for the picnic license, getting all that up to date. We are getting more and more vendors. Actually, we're growing, so we're getting more vendors than we had last year. Considerable amount. I shouldn't say considerable, decent amount. So we're going to probably have to do some modifications with regards to moving things around and configuring things a little bit better. One of the big things that we would like to do is to see if we can modify the footprint where the tent is in between St. John's and St. Francis, so we can utilize some of that midway space. Just turn it so that we can put vendors in front on the midway, because we are getting more food vendors and other stuff like that. So we are going to need some space. We're probably going to be putting some people down near the bathrooms on the east side as well, in addition to underneath the grandstand. Very few food vendors under the grandstand because of the smoke. So that's going to be something that we're going to need to address. With that, we're going to have to look at power and water again, which is always seems to be the issue that we have down there. But that could be dealt with in the spring. In addition to, we need to look at, again, the drain in the barn. We've got to figure out if we're going to be able to fix that, or do some modification to it. Now, the other thing would be the arena issue, as far as the horse show, the 4-H horse show.
I think we can discuss that under the, whatever item that is.
Consider the best use for the grounds in front of the grandstand.
Because I know we're kind of limited by what the state says we can push off, as far as time-wise goes. So that may be a factor. I know a couple, 10 or more years ago, we had to be off grounds for some reason, and I don't think that's a viable solution to us anymore. So we'll have to, see what we have to work it out. But I know it's a pain to move all that sand. Otherwise, even if anybody hasn't heard, we are bringing Big Ferrari back to Big Fair. One of only 5 shows we're having, or they're having this year. So that's a big surprise for the fair. So that should help out quite a bit. Otherwise, everything is status quo. So we'll just keep moving along.
All right. Rodeo update. George is out right now. Permanent vendor update. Becky, you have anything?
I actually do.
Okay, great.
With the upcoming Food Truck Palooza, I was asked by Eagles and VFW if they could do like Labor Day and alternate and be open for it, so there's domestic beer options down there.
We have Eagles is doing it this year.
Okay.
VFW hasn't come to me at all talking about it, but I also have the Adam Smith Memorial Fund doing beverages as well.
Yep.
So I do want to alternate to make things fair for everybody. So yeah, that's definitely something we can work with.
Yeah. Okay. I just was told to bring that up.
Yep.
And I do have one thing for the fair. Actually, because thank you for reminding me, Brad. But between St. John's and St. Francis, we were thinking of getting a bigger tent for next year because there's so lack of seating down there for families to eat. Because we were going to bring more picnic tables down. with the church's volunteers, we were going to bring our own picnic tables down as well to fill up that area for more seating. Because that was one thing that we heard with it being warm. People didn't want to eat in our inside. They'd rather eat outside in the tent. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up tonight. And that's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? We'll move on to calendar of events. We have that in front of us here. We do have the gun show coming up. We have ice racing this weekend, a lane auction. And the Little Lakes banquet in March. Moving on from there, we'll go to discuss and consider the Expo Center kitchen rental fee. Hallie?
So I handed out last week when, oh, you weren't here last week. You can have this one. I'm gonna pass that down. That we haven't changed our prices at all since we
Did
built
you
the
get one of
building.
those? Yeah.
And with the kitchen rental fee right now, there is no fee to actually use the kitchen. It is just a $250 extra deposit. So the deposit goes from $250 to $500. I think we should be charging to use the kitchen, whether it's $50 or $100 for their entire rental. They're using if they're going to use the kitchen, they may as well pay for it. They're using our utilities, they're using the ovens, this fridge, all of that, and that is more things that we have to clean when our cleaners come in after their event. So I'd like to have a discussion about raising that price or increasing it from $0 to either $50 or $100 for their use. Any thoughts?
Is that going to lead over into the fair? Because
Polka dot pie.
What's it?
Polka dot pie, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Polka dot pie uses the kitchen for their,
You rent the whole grounds though, correct? That's something we'd have to work on. Or
We can
work
figure
out.
that one out.
I don't want to wait until
Right.
July or August until.
Yeah. No, we can.
It's extra.
Anything that's already scheduled now would be in the closet they've already contracted and signed. Because we do have events going on through the year, and I'm not going to change their contract when they've already done that.
Right.
What, is there a general, how much it costs or whatever to clean when the kitchen is used?
No, we just have our, Misty is our Expo Center cleaner, and she does it, so it's just her hourly wage, but it is all stainless steel, you need to wipe it all down. And generally, people leave it relatively clean, but we still have to go over it.
Now, this also includes, say, I know St. Stephen's, I believe it was, that wanted to use the kitchen this year for Thanksgiving. They were told they couldn't, for whatever reason, it's neither here nor there. Would they be able to do that then? Just rent the kitchen for,
Mhm.
because the parishioners are getting kind of older, they don't want to have to keep going up and down the steps for
Mhm.
the cooking.
Right. Yeah.
For their outreach programs and stuff, but, yeah, so they brought it up to me, because you guys, they denied this year. Don't know. I don't know
There's-
if they talked to or anything else like that.
There's a
What
few,
the deal was.
few things we have to clarify there as far as preparation versus,
Just serve.
bringing in and warming.
Okay.
The health department, I know there's been some issues as far as preparation there. If you don't have or if you're using your outside license, but yet preparing there, food truck, you prepare it a lot of times in a licensed kitchen, and then it goes into the food truck, or gets warmed up like a caterer.
Okay.
So I guess, let us answer a couple of those questions before we,
Okay, and like I said, it's neither here nor there, I just
Yep.
was curious if, let's say they want to do it next year, if that's going to be,
Should we table this for a month?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't we hold it over for a month and we can get some of those questions answered. and-
Okay.
I think it is a good deal even at $100, I think that would be a good deal for them to use the kitchen. I mean, it's nice and handy, and wear and tear on it, we gotta think down the road what it's gonna cost us to replace some of that too.
So the next item, sorry, you can
Go
do
ahead.
that.
Yep.
The next item would be to consider a rate fee increase for the Expo Center itself. Right now, for one day, it's $450. That is the same as the Merrill Town Hall. I'm not bashing anything, I'm just thinking that we haven't raised those prices at all either since the building has been built. And I think it's time. We need to think about the overall expenditure of the building itself and try to make a return on it.
I'll make a motion to increase the cost $50 a day as outlined in our handout here to 500, 400, and 300.
I'll second that.
They have a motion and a second to increase the fee for the rental of the Expo Center to 500, 400, 300.
Noting, of course, that as it says here, it does not affect those already booked.
Correct. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is consider best use for grounds in front of grandstand. Rod?
This has come up over the years as far as removing the sand and putting it back on and for different venues, and then not having the ability to use it for, events that don't have a need for the sand. So I guess what I would propose, and trying to work it out with the fair, would be to maybe leave the sand on until the middle of July and then take it off so we could utilize it for other events. If we don't have other events, we'll leave it on. But I know you guys were talking about a horse show. You might be able to have your 4-H horse show, what was it, no later than?
It could be a couple weeks before the fair.
Okay. I thought you were saying July 1st, but last year we had some ATV events there, and they would like to use the grounds too. And I know the Riders Club uses it for their gymkhana, but it costs us $5,000 every time we take that sand off and put it back on. And they're paying us $300 for a Friday, and I think they're using it 6 or 7 Fridays a year. And no, we've heard comments that we don't want them there. That's not true. We just want to see the grounds utilized, and multiple uses, I guess. I guess when I say we,
Right.
some of us have talked about it, so. Any thoughts from everybody?
It's costly to take that sand on and off all the time, and it takes away from our personnel doing other things. That's,
Well, the unfortunate thing, it was built as a rodeo arena, and that's it, or equine arena. And that's, you got all the stuff underneath it, but again, like you said, it's $5,000 to move it. It's not economically,
and we let other people remove it a couple times, and then it gets to be a mess.
Contaminated.
Right.
yeah, you don't
And
want-
every time we take it on and off, it's not perfect setup. I guess, what is the latest that you guys, as far as your horse show, when is the fair this year?
July, or August 6th to 10th. So we'll have to find out from the state how early, and the unfortunate thing is you don't want to alienate them either, by having it so far away from the fair, then they have no part of the fair. That's another thing, but again, we understand that, there is needs and has to be used.
And we don't have anything scheduled right now, but we'd like to make it available.
Right.
But if you're talking 2-week window there from July 15th to the time you guys use it, maybe we take it off, that Thursday of the fair and leave it off for the rest of the year and see how it goes. And not have it available for the riders after the fair.
Wouldn't be a bad thing. But we, again, we can talk about it a little bit more and get the dates down, and again, we don't want to tell the city they can't have anything there because economically it's not appropriate.
I'd like to take it off right after the rodeo and have it available for everything, but
Right, no, I understand. And I'm not disagreeing with you, I fully understand. But I hate to alienate the 4-H kids from that part of it.
when was it normally, on the Wednesday?
Yeah, because usually you came in on Thursday and took everything off, and then we had gas models turning me off throughout the rest of the time.
I guess, would anybody be willing to make a motion to remove the sand on that Thursday of the fair and leave it off for the rest of the year?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to remove the sand in front of the grandstand on the Thursday of the fair and leave it off for the rest of the year. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I know we have quad races the week after the fair, that next week, so.
Right. Update on improvements for 2025.
I guess we're talking about the fence that was donated by the rodeo. We are in the process of making bases and connections to mount most of the fence. There was a couple different varieties after we got into it. The bathrooms, the old bathrooms, which would be the southwest bathrooms, we are going to be reconfiguring those and then also putting in, I do believe, 2 showers in there this spring. We will be putting a weave in the fence along the south side, the county side there, for the campgrounds to try to make that a little bit more of a aesthetically pleasing. And then we are in the process of purchasing the armory, so we'll have to do a little bit of maybe screening along there also, which won't be a big deal, and we'll see what uses come down the line for that building. Any questions on what we're doing? I know we did carry over some money for electrical upgrades too, and that's what you were talking about, but we may be looking at a couple different areas to improve some of the electrical there.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to monthly reports. We have Fairgrounds Coordinator Civil.
Does anybody have any questions?
No questions?
No.
Okay. Consider placing the monthly report on file.
Make a motion to place the monthly report on file.
Have a motion and a second to place the monthly report on file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment. Public comment? Hearing none, date and time of next meeting be called the chair. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, waiting.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.